Hello and welcome to the Special Moves podcast. This is episode 34 and we are live on Twitch for a change, mainly because of emergency reasons. My name is Mike Williams and these guys are Jake Lukowski and Liam McKelvey. What a smooth start this has been to the first live Special Moves podcast. What a dream. Jake's done a lovely job here. For everyone who's watching live, you get to see a nice little overlay thing that he's done, and there's frames and stuff. The only problem is that my camera thing is popping out all over the place.
Again as soon as you mentioned it. That was
weird. Yeah, it's done it.
Almost like I'm doing it myself manually on purpose. What have you been playing this week, boys? What have you been playing? I haven't actually had a huge amount of time to play stuff, but I've managed to squeeze a few things in. I've been away for 4 days. What have you been playing?
I played Katana Zero, that indie game I kept going on about. That was good.
The one we played at Rest, right? The one-shot kill game.
Yeah, that's the one. The one's kind of like Hotline Miami. So I bought that on the Switch and finished it in 2 sittings. It's a very short game, but very good.
Oh. How short are we talking?
4 hours long. In fact, that's the biggest blemish on it. It feels like it ends just as it gets going.
Yeah.
It's a bit and it's got a good story to it as well. It's very well written. It's intriguing, and then it literally ends on a to be continued, which is a bit it takes the steam out of it a bit.
Ploy to get a sequel, but because they're an indie game, it's not guaranteed. So if they add a big
there's literally a bonus room you unlock at the end of the game, and there's a lift in it, and you walk up to it, and it tells you to come back in 6 months or something. So some sort of there's an update planned or something.
6 months.
So
you could be dead by then.
It's got it's weird. It's a good game though. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot.
Indie Gaming, who his name is Get Indie Gaming. That's how many indie games he plays. He has had a stomper of a year because he said that Ape Out is in the top 5 games he's ever played ever, and that's now been replaced with Katana Zero. So he's had a great month. He's had 2 top 5 of all time games in the past month. So it must be pretty good. I've been playing a shitload of stuff, but I'm behind on that. I've just got Forager, which is doing the rounds at the moment. And the game I've played the most actually is Planet Coaster, which weirdly enough today they announced Planet Coaster but a zoo. It's called Planet Zoo.
Yeah. Do you know what would have been a better name than Planet Zoo, though? You just said it right there, my friend. Planet Coaster, but a zoo. Planet Coaster, but a zoo is a better name than Planet Zoo.
Planet, zoo implies it's the whole planet, but it's very much one nationality at a time, so I can't...
Yeah. It's very much just
call
zoo,
the game
really.
Zoo. Just call the game Zoo. The thing about Zoo Tycoon is... it's not zoo. They still have zoo as an option. And also, every type of zoo in the world is Chester Zoo or Brighton Zoo. There's no zoo just called Zoo, so it is definitely available. And they're getting quite big now.
I don't know. I feel like there's got to be one in Russia or something.
But even that, they've got to have done something.
Do you know what I mean?
Just put a line through it or something. Just call it Zoo.
I've
got to tell you that. That has been a lot of fun. To be honest, I like Theme Park World on the PS1 better, but this is good. This is actually good. Me and Mike actually, last time, I think it might have been the last time me and Mike were together on a live stream, we were playing Jurassic World, which is the same people who make Zoo and Planet Coaster. And I've got to tell you,
what are they called?
Frontier,
yeah. They make Elite Dangerous as well.
So
the
it's
space
I don't know, man. It's something good about Planet Coaster that it worked my computer out pretty heavy. I've been playing loads of games lately, and none of them have made my computer sound like that. I don't know if it's because I had everything on high or something, but or maybe it's because every other game I'm playing is literally 2 dimensions. But I've had a nice time on it, and I'm pretty chuffed for Planet Zoo. It's coming out in the autumn time, which actually works out really good because I don't think there's much coming out in autumn or fall if you're an American listener or watcher. I think there's Borderlands and Zoo. That's it. So I've been playing Planet Coaster, looking forward to that. Yeah, and Hades.
Nice.
Yeah, you're still playing Hades. Still playing Hades. Then that's still
It's like
keeping you entertained.
The Binding of Isaac is my favourite sort of, well, one of my favourite games ever, believe it or not. I kind of love it. And then I've been really into like Dead Cells again lately, but Hades I think is better, and that's what it boils down to. There's something about it, and I'm playing it on PC, so I'm playing it on a mouse and keyboard, which is really awkward and horrible. And I just can't, like, just out of reach, just out of sight is my Xbox controller, but I just can't be bothered finding a USB to plug it in.
Yeah. So,
well, by finding one, I mean going downstairs. So I'm playing on mouse and keyboard, and it's still, a lot better. I think that it's got a new big patch coming out in about a month, and that's when I was going to do a YouTube video on it with you guys, because I wanted to wait for a big excuse, really, to talk about it. At the moment, it's been
sure.
I don't know. It's awkward because it's been kind of announced since the Game Awards. There's been a couple of updates, but nothing major. But apparently, there's like a huge update with like a whole new world getting added into it or whatever. So,
get that song in there.
Yeah. Is that Aladdin?
Aladdin.
Yeah. I was thinking
It's
of
Aladdin,
Iron Maiden song, but that's Brave New World. So I thought, are we going there? But no, we weren't going there. It was just me.
No, it was definitely Aladdin, Disney classic. I've been playing Star Wars Battlefront 2, strangely. For mainly, I mean, I was away for a few days, and I was feeling quite tired, let's say, the day I got back, and I ended up playing loads of Star Wars Battlefront 2. Sorry, it was the day after. And I basically had a day off work, and I just hammered Star Wars Battlefront 2. And I haven't played it for like a long time. I got it on. I already had a physical version, but I picked up the digital thing because I'm a lazy bastard, and that's what I do. I'll sell the physical one, which means I don't then have to swap discs, which is like an essential ingredient, especially for like shooting games and stuff. I'll just dive in, for like 20 minutes here or there before tea or something like that sometimes. And it's really good. Like, if you like Star Wars, it's certainly like, it does do that thing of not quite feeling like enough stuff somehow. It's still, I don't know, it feels like they maybe sort of miss the point a little bit of what you love about the old games, but I understand that the game is so much more like technically complicated than Star Wars Battlefront 2 was in 2005. But like, so there's a new mode on there where you're like it takes place on a big spaceship and on the planet's surface, but the thing that separates both those things is a cutscene. So you don't get like the magic of like a spaceship taking off and then landing on a giant spaceship, which is what was in the old ones. But I still understand that you can't easily chuck that stuff into an existing game. You need to change a lot of how the game works and stuff to make that happen properly. But hopefully in the next Star Wars Battlefront, well, they won't be as all that microtransaction stuff that was in Star Wars Battlefront 2, and hopefully they'll just sort of try and be a bit more ambitious with like the space combat, combining with the planet combat stuff, because that's what I really loved, and that's what I think a lot of people loved in the classic Battlefront games: jumping into a spaceship, taking off, and then landing somewhere very far away and doing some shooting over there. But it's a lot of fun. It's cool.
It's weird because a lot of people probably would have been playing Star Wars Battlefront because of that new Star Wars film, or because of the new Star Wars game that got announced, and I guess they wanted to play the last one. But I've been playing, in preparation for this, Titanfall 2, because it's Respawn, right? And that's the one everyone talks about. And I've got to tell you, lads, I'm having a fucking good time playing it. I'm amazed. I'm doing that thing where I sit next to Sean and I'm like, oh, babe, look at this. She don't give a fuck. Sometimes she doesn't even look like because I say it all the time and you've missed it now. I do it on Apex all the time when I clutch and I get a good kill. I'm like, look at this. Oh, you've missed it. But on this, I'm going through fucking, well, I don't want to say actually, but in case if you haven't played Titanfall 2, right, it's well worth playing well, somebody said, right, so I was at an event, this weekend, and someone said, oh, there's one mission in Titanfall 2 that's going to blow your mind. Everyone loves this mission. So, I played this mission, and it amazes me. It's like Inception. I'm running up walls. I don't know what the ceiling is. I don't know what the wall is. But that's not the mission that they're on about, is it? Because then there's another mission which does something even more amazing than that. So now what I'm wondering is there another mission that is even better than that? I feel spoiled. It's basically it's one where you go through some rifts constantly, and then eventually you can choose with L1 or whatever. Actually, I guess if you're playing on PC, that's irrelevant. But you can basically go through these rifts whenever you want. Very, very, very enjoyable game. I paid £3 for it. Best £3 I've spent since Sleeping Dogs.
Yeah, it is really good. It's like the I think basically the missions that you've done there, that was pretty much the peak for me. But it is really, really good beginning to end. Unless I'm forgetting something massive, in which case, good. Then it'll be a surprise for you when it happens. It's a great game. It's weird, like, you know, everyone knows now, don't they? Like, it just sort of, but EA didn't manage it very well in terms of where they put it for release and stuff. You know, between their own fucking game and Call of Duty, and then all that stuff.
Pretty much got sent out to die.
It was so their own game being, of course, Battlefield 1, I think.
Yeah.
And now Battlefield's, you know, we talked about this at the time, but Battlefield's Battle Royale game, Firestorm, which coincidentally is doing quite well from the people that have played it, is been lost in the sort of noise because of Apex Legends, so which is a whole different story. I love Apex Legends, mate.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of it's one of my favourite games of the year, really. I mean, it's the one I've played most and the one I've kept playing the longest. I don't get all this stuff about it, like, oh, why is it dying? Why is it failing and all this? Because, I mean, it's still got loads of players, and it was free, and I'm sure it's made a lot more money than it cost to develop, and a lot of people had a lot of fun with it. Does it have to be a fucking perpetual success story for it to be a good result? Do you know what I mean? Does it, like, there's stuff coming out now about Fortnite and the working culture and stuff at Epic Games, and people are being constantly, like, you know, crunched like no one's ever been crunched before. Like, you've got to constantly keep up with development, and if there's a problem, then no one, you know, you can't just say, oh, take the gun out, we'll fix it, like, later down the line, we'll fix it in the next patch. Everyone's got to concentrate on getting that gun fixed, and it's like a horrendous working environment. So is that better? Is that better than Apex Legends? Just kind of going, whoa.
It's funny because I spend a lot of time listening to, like, music now because I work from home. So, like, rather than flicking through albums, I listen to a lot of, like, DJ mixes, you know, like, because it's all, like, one thing blended. And I heard the track earlier, and it was really good. And it's by Bauer, right? And he did the Harlem Shake. The rest of his stuff isn't anything like the Harlem Shake. But it's funny because games journalism would be like, Bauer's next track would release or whatever, they wouldn't be like, Bauer's career is over. Why is Bauer dead? Why is Bauer over? Yeah. Because not every track can be the Harlem Shake, right? So that's what's so funny. And it must, you know, his music is so different than that, and it must really piss him off that he made this stupid meme of a track. But yeah, it's funny because success is relative, I guess, and that's what everybody is kind of treating Apex like when they're not, you know, beyond the best. Like, they were beyond Fortnite. Then they're the bottom. You're either the top or you're the bottom, and it's not as simple as that, is it?
Yeah, well, exactly. So, I just think I just thought that was really interesting how you can have a really successful game that makes a lot of people happy and makes a lot of a lot of money for a company that wasn't expected to make a lot of money. There's nothing has gone wrong here at all, and yet the story, the story and the consensus online is that it's now failing or dying or something, because there's less people playing it. I don't get it. It's a bit mad, isn't it? It's a bit mad. Jake, you went to a thing on the weekend, a Twitch streaming thing. Tell us about that. I was going to say, you couldn't have said this any more like my dad. So it wasn't a Twitch streaming event. It was actually Insomnia, which is the biggest, just regular average Joe gaming event in the UK. And when I mean average Joe, it's because EGX. It's full of. full of muggles,
Well,
right? Full of like peasants, like the work
no,
classes. They're all there.
So EGX is loads of companies that have their games there, right? So it's like a big industry thing. There wasn't that many games. There was Days Gone that was playable. There was Mortal Kombat 11, and there was Dreams, which, depending on if you've bought it in early access or not, if you managed to get in, you might already have. So there was only 2 games that weren't currently out. There was lots of games that were out, though. So there was like a big Fortnite competition where there was literally 100 computers, and you could play Fortnite LAN. So you weren't playing against, strangers from France. You were playing against that sweaty kid over there. And it's the same with Apex Legends. So I was there because I was working. So one of my clients at work is THQ Nordic, and they were sponsoring a charity event. And these lads are basically doing this like charity thing. They're going around the UK, like 1,000 odd miles around the UK in this car. And I just was sent there just to put a sticker on the front of the car, which took me, as you can imagine, about 10 minutes. So then I had the whole weekend to kill. And so my best friend growing up, he was there doing a stream thing where he was playing with the crowd. So it was like the crowd could jump on with Kale, and it was like they worked co-op to beat monsters in Monster Hunter. And if they got an A rank, I was given away mouse and keyboard, big Asus sets. There was loads of giveaways and competitions there, because it was full of, like you said, muggles. There were like there was an Apex Legends competition that was like, well, me and Kale won the competition, but then throughout the day, everyone else that won the competition got put into a pool, and we came second overall. And the people that came first won like 2080s, the graphics cards. I don't know if they were 2080 Ti's, which is like double the price, but it's still like 800.
Imagine getting one. Oh, it's a 2080.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
well, it's not a TI.
Yeah.
Still an 800
it's about 800
graphics card.
In case you guys listening don't know, it's about £800 for these graphics cards, and they won a T-shirt, an Apex Legends T-shirt, a hat, a 2080, and a 144 hertz monitor. And I was this close. Like so in the end, the skill part of it we won, but then it was down to luck. It was like a bit of a raffle at the end, and we didn't win.
Yeah.
So other than that, it was good. I went out with some. There was a charity event on the Saturday for Special Effect, who you might have heard of worldwide, because they. Even though they're a UK-based charity, they made, that mad Xbox pad that you can play with your chin or your tongue or whatever? You can plug in all the peripherals to it. Well, it was made with Microsoft and Special Effect. So they had the charity do there, so that was cool. And I got to, like, for those that don't know, like, my day job, I work in PR, so I spend a lot of time on a professional level with streamers. So it was nice to go out when I was off the clock just for a drink with them, where people weren't making the same joke about me being the Sith Lord thing. Actually, everyone says that I'm in the dark arts. Mike told me once that PR is considered dark arts, and I thought, whatever, you're a journalist. That's what the journalists say. But no, regular people will call it that as well. So, yeah.
Well, but that's what like the thick of it, the TV show is, and that's what it's about, spinning, right? And that's what all that is. But I was saying it in your instance because of a very specific conversation we had, where. I don't know how much I should say really, but for a long time, we've been trying to do something, and then you sign a piece of paper, and it's like, bang, you've got all of it and everything, everything you ever wanted. So it's like the fast track to power. Yeah. That's what I specifically meant there. It's like it's like the
all I had to do was some godly ritual. Nah, it was.
Yeah, exactly. All you have to do is slay some younglings and you're in. You know what I mean? You've got all the power you could
That's
need.
how my weekend was. It was decent enough, and it was cool. And I met a couple. I don't know if they're watching, but I met a couple of people. So hello. If I saw you, a lot of people came up to me and said hello. It happens quite a lot. It happened at EGX Res as well. More so me and Liam actually. It was when you went around. But I'm not even joking.
Yeah, I am quite off.
I think it was like 3 people that came up to me and Liam anyway. So it's always nice to see people that know us from this, if not from Pretty Good Game, and they'll know us from this. So yeah, it's always a pleasure, and it's always nice. So I got to meet some people that watch Special Moves as well. That was cool.
Yeah. I was. It's weird that you mentioned that. I don't know if I've told you this, right? But I was at a like a creative industries conference thing in North Wales a couple of weeks ago, and a guy came up to talk to me about special moves. And he was like, he's like this amazing animator and stuff. And he was like, it's like Welsh speaking lad from just down the road and stuff like that. And that that wasn't a games conference. That was not a video game convention. And that, in a small town in North Wales, and, someone came up and was like, I like watching the stuff that you do and all that sort of stuff. And he's a really cool guy, like really interesting guy himself. Like far more interesting and stuff than whatever the hell I'm doing on here. But it is like weird when it happens, I suppose. But when you're when you're at them kind of shows, I think it's just like part of the thing. Like it's cool. Like it's cool on both sides. I think I love it when people come up, and it's better than when people look at you, because sometimes I've had it a few times where people are just looking at you, and you're like, why are they looking at me? And and I'm a big dude. I'm a tall man, so I'm sort of used to people looking at me. But sometimes in games conventions, it can get intense, and then I feel much better when they come over and say something. So Liam, there was some news this week about Japanese games.
Yes, there was. Japan voted on their 20 best games of the last 30 years, I think it was.
Some surprises in there, right, boys?
Well, it's a pretty solid list, if you ask me.
I mean, there's a full 20. Do you want me to read through all 20 of them?
Well, let's do the top three. Let's do the top three and then some chicken selects from the rest.
All right, okay. Why don't we do top 10? That sounds good. That's a five. That's a five.
All right,
let's do top 10
and the top three, because actually this is the thing. So quite a lot of people would have known the top three because this kind of came out earlier in the week, but then it was only been like a couple of days later that the other had been published. So according to Japan, and yes, I'm speaking for every single human being in Japan, they rounded them all up and they made them talk about it. This is Famitsu basically, which is a huge Japanese publication. Held a sort of what is it called? Like a census? Is that the right word?
Survey?
Exactly. So let's have a look. Xenogears was number 10. Xenogears, anyone?
Good shout. Yeah, it's a mech JRPG from Square Enix.
And nope.
No, not even. No. To be fair, it only came out in America and Japan, so that's why a lot of people. So like over here, we didn't get it at all.
Yeah. And which is why we should have done the top three.
Well, I'll do it.
It is it's generally regarded as like one of the best RPGs on PS1.
Can you get it over here?
No, you have to buy an import copy or just like emulate it or whatever
for 190 quid or something.
It's about that, yeah.
So, right, let's just skip to top three then. Let's forget about the others. Because you can pretty much guess, by the way, it was like Pokemon, Final Fantasy, and Zelda were like all over the place. Right, number 3, yeah? And bear in mind, this isn't years or decade. This is like... So Japan works in like eras. So this is from 1989 to now, okay? 30 years. Number 3.
The Heisei period.
It's whenever they get a new emperor, the era changes, I think.
Seems legit.
That's what it's about.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like... I mean, that seems legit. So, bear in mind that 1989 is like basically gaming as we know it, innit? 3 is Nier Automata.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm happy with that.
Mike, you played it. Liam, you've played it. I have never played it. Seems...
I played it twice.
But by playing it twice, you very much mean play it about 11 times, right? Because you have to play it about 4 times.
Yeah.
Just to...
yeah, to get all the endings, yeah.
Just as a reminder, I think that was like, was it like 2017 or 18? I think it was 17. Okay. Number 2, Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild. I think that was about a week and a half after Nier Automata. Or vice versa.
They were very close,
so that's it. Number 1 is Chrono Trigger. Now, that's the SNES game, right? Okay, so that's at least that's like not the same decade. Chrono Trigger, best game. I wonder how many people are going to implement that in their list now, because I always thought like Secret of Mana was considered like that sort of SNES JRPG royalty.
It's Secret of Mana's up there, but like Chrono Trigger was like it's the dream team because they had the guy who made Dragon Quest, the guy who did Final Fantasy. They had an amazing composer, and it was like the perfect storm of RPG developers.
You really think that it's the best like game on the SNES even? Because I haven't played it. That's the thing.
It's pretty good. I'm not sure if I'd say it's like the best JRPG ever, but it's certainly in the top 10 for me anyway. Because I didn't play it until they put it on Nintendo DS, like years and years later, and that was the first time I played it.
I figured that you'd be the right person to talk to about this because of the era and stuff like that. But Mike, how do you feel about this sort of top 3? 2 of them being literally within a 30-day span of each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I always say to you when very recent games not get good praise, but they get named, the best or among the best ever. It's the film Boyhood. Let me tell you about Boyhood. Boyhood's a very ambitious film that took many years to produce, and it is very. Yes, it was literally the life of a young lad growing up in various stages, and it's very good. It's really good. It's a hell of a film. It's not one of the best films ever made, but every time, it doesn't happen now, but it came out in like 2014 or something like that, right? This film, and for like 2 years after that, it was getting named in like magazine top 100 lists and stuff as the best films of the last 100 years and stuff. Boyhood was like consistently up there. If they were doing that now, no, that's not happening, mate. That's not happening. Like Empire magazine is not saying Boyhood is one of the best 10 films ever made now, but it may well have done. It may well have done, like the year that Boyhood came out. So I always think of that when games that are very recent are named the best ever, or. But it always takes like the test of time for me. Like if you're still after 20 years, then yeah, definitely. But I don't I keep saying Bloodborne's my favorite game ever. That's how I feel right now. But I don't know if I could, if I'm still saying that in 10, 15, 20 years, then that is when it's when it definitely is. So there's a couple of recent entries out there, and Nier Automata is fantastic. Breath of the Wild is, it didn't captivate me really, but I can sort of see why it gets a lot of praise. But that was being called the best game ever. So whether those two are in the top 3, I don't know. I think one thing I want to know is, was there any Western games, and was that, if not, was that like on purpose? Were they specifically picking Japanese games?
I don't think there is one in here, so I'm just going to run through the list as fast as I can, without stopping, and I keep an ear out because I don't think.
Well, you could just read it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I mean, I'm not going to stop. Pokemon Diamond and Pokemon Pearl was number 20. 19 was Final Fantasy 11. Then it was Final Fantasy 15 at number 18. 17, it was a tie. It was Metal Gear Solid 3 and Kingdom Hearts.
I thought you meant a tie game. I was like, oh.
It was the classic Tie Wars 74. No, it was Metal Gear Solid 3, which was the only Metal Gear Solid that made it in, and Kingdom Hearts. I feel like I'm reading like the pop charts here. Number 16 was Monster Hunter Portable 2nd G, Monster Hunter Freedom Unite. Coming in at number 15 was Tactics Ogre. There was Splatoon 2 was number 14. Then Mother 2, Suikoden 2,
Splatoon, where was that developed? I know it's a Nintendo game, but where?
Well,
was that developed?
Definitely Japan, because they always have the guy from the Squid Lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a game about colourful squids spraying each other and ink. So.
That game would have been made by anyone in the West with it.
All squid-based games are just like mean and gloomy in the West. So then there was Vainglory, Xenogears. Number 9 was Dragon Quest V. Number 8 was Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, or Yellow. 7 was Final Fantasy X. Then 6 was Ocarina of Time. So the other 2 in the top 5, by the way, number 5 was Akami. That wolf game, and number 4 was Final Fantasy VII. So that was it. So weirdly, out of the top 20 games ever, there was 4 Final Fantasies and 2 Zeldas. And
I actually can't think of a Western game that I would, I would suggest as one of Japan's favourites. Do you know what I mean? I can't think of.
I know they really like Skyrim in Japan. Because that was
I was going to say that was a joke.
Apparently, that was like a massive inspiration for Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Oh, no, yeah, I remember that at E3 he said, didn't he, right? He being whoever was talking about it. So, yeah, I mean, I'm half surprised. But, yeah, you're right. There is a big omission there of the West, and you can't help but wonder because I don't know if the top 10 games by any Western outlet would omit a Japanese game. Perhaps you could argue because it's impossible to do so. But I do think that, yeah, the West has created some big games. Obviously, The Witcher's going to be the one on everyone's lips, or going further back, you've got stuff like Baldur's Gate or whatever. But, yeah, no love for CRPGs, really, is there, from like Japanese publications? No. It seems that's a very... Dungeons and Dragons seems a very Western thing. I'm not sure. You know what? Actually, it'd be interesting to find this out. I'm not actually sure how big are tabletop role-playing games in Japan. Like, is there like a massive D&D scene in Japan we don't know about, or do they have an equivalent, or is it all just pachinko? I don't know. But I never thought about it until now. So that was Japan.
So they're Japan's favorite games, which is pretty interesting. Let's do. Should we do some emails?
Yeah. Do you want to read a couple of emails? We had some emails in as we were live, like.
Yeah, we did actually. So this is from our Dear Special Moves inbox. If you want to email us, it's dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. Send us your opinions, your questions, whatever you want, and we'll have a chat about it on the podcast. We'll try and get through a few every week. We do read every single one of them, by the way. So even if you just want to say hello or something and you don't necessarily want it read out, then email us. So this one is from genuinely a person called Thanos. Dear Special Moves, this is the week that Avengers is out in the cinemas as well, so that's pretty cool. Thanos says, himself. Yeah, here we go. Dear Special Moves, I've been following your work since before the Special Moves channel was created. As expected, I fell into the Sekiro hype, and boy, am I glad I did. It is an amazing game, no doubt about it. I should mention it is my first From Software game, and I tend to avoid these types of games that require immense effort to overcome each boss. I also lack patience, as many of my friends tend to remind me. But despite all that, I have managed to get to the very end of the game before getting my ass handed to me by the last boss. I don't know how much of this I want to say, really, but there's some specifics. But here's a very interesting number, right? Mm-hmm. On the last boss of Sekiro, Thanos, the bad guy from the Avengers, has registered over 100+ tries to try and take out the end boss of Sekiro. I also saw some guys using cheats or slowdown tools to beat the game, and while it seems appealing to cheat, I still have hope that by throwing myself on him a couple hundred more times, I will finally best him. I was wondering how you managed to beat him, if you actually did in the end, and if there is an angle I'm not seeing. Again, thanks for the content and keeping me entertained during transit or while grinding bosses in said games. Thanos, Athens, Greece. So I don't think we can really talk about the boss and try and help you out because it's spoiler territory and stuff, and you don't want to ruin it for people who haven't experienced it. But just on the fact that he's tried over 100 times. Now, I tried for hours, many hours, and I was like, I was beyond the pale of like, I didn't care. I wasn't angry. I was just completely emotionally like plateaued of just. I'd gone as high and as low as I had in that game. Like I definitely had felt worked up like before, like against one of the mid bosses in the middle of the game. I was like, I was proper like worked up, and I was like, Argh! And I had to resort to listening to Rage Against the Machine to beat him, and it worked. But that would be my general tip for you. Put some music on. Don't listen to the game music. They're like basic fundamental starting ones. I don't know how much that will actually help in the case of Sekiro and the final boss in particular, but you just need to don't hesitate, innit? Don't hesitate.
So we all finished it, right? This one was hard.
Yeah.
I didn't find Sekiro as difficult as everyone on the internet seemed to make me think it was going to be, or was, and I completed it quite quickly. There's only one boss I didn't beat, which both of these guys did beat, and he's a boss who is another end game boss who you could try and beat now, but you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, actually, because both of them are very tedious, I guess.
Yeah.
So how I beat this guy, and I feel I could beat this guy with confidence now. It got to the point towards the end where I could beat the first stage without getting touched. Like, I'd be shocked if I had to use a healing Estus thing on him. But the tip is, for the last two stages, don't stay too close and don't stay too far away, because he's got a couple of weapons, but one of his weapons is mid-range, and that weapon that he's got, I don't even want to say it in case it's a spoiler, he has a combo that he uses nearly every time that ends in a Mickery counter flash. You doing that will give you good posture damage and a window to attack him a couple of times. I found that was like, when I learnt that, it was like pretty straightforward. Like, when that clicked, it only took me another 2 times then to get it. That Mickery counter with the third stage onwards. Yeah, that's my advice.
Also, there's a few YouTube videos and stuff around now. I think it's the is it the Extra Life one or something, or there's some YouTube account who does very thorough like tutorials about, like, there's loads of Divinity Original Sin 2 tutorials and stuff on there about like Life, creating classes and stuff. It is that's what I was and you go on that, and there is, you know, specific tutorials on the specific bosses, and there's one for that, and it's about 7 or 8 minutes long, and it's just watch that and get into the, you know, you might not pick up the specific tactics for doing it, but you could, you know, you what you will get is like someone just confidently talking about solving the problem like it's a puzzle, and then you'll feel more like, oh, it is doable. You know, you just have to do specific things at specific times, and you've got to remember what you're doing, and not just like run at him flailing, you know, another 100 times. Like, it's much better to take your time and you know, try another 50 times, but with a plan. You know, don't go in there just hoping for the best.
Yeah.
So thanks for that email, Thanos.
From Greece. Shouts out Greece. I'm going there next month. Woohoo! I love Greece. I thought I was going to hate it because I hate Greek food, but I went there. Best food in the world, man. Well, good.
How are you hating Greek food, you Philistine? Greek food is amazing.
3 things I don't like in life, and one of them is cucumber, so I don't like all this Siki thing. I don't like all that ba-ba. So, and also I don't like coffee liqueur and dessert, so tiramisu can fucking do one. But it's not just tiramisu. That's racist. When you actually go to Greece, it's like chicken gyros, staffardo. There's loads of proper good things that you don't see the sort of anglicised bastardisation of. So when you go Greece and you find out it's like the nicest grilled meat in the world, life changer. Fucking love Greece.
Oh, it's the best, you know, the best, like, freshest tasting food I've had has been in Greece. It's amazing. Anyway, enjoy your local cuisine, Thanos. This one is from a guy. This one's class. Chester from Sheffield says, "Dear Special Moves, I like a good cutscene as much as the next guy or girl, but I feel games are being way too unimaginative in how they tell stories. Movies are limited to telling stories mostly through dialogue and clever visuals. Games aren't limited in the same way, with methods such as notes laying on the ground, audio logs, and other environmental storytelling that isn't controlled by the director but the player. One of the best examples of this was the Call of Duty Zombies map, Der Riese. Just walking through the level told you everything that you needed to know about the story of the Nazi zombie factory that you were in. Now even that mode is filled with intro and outro cutscenes with clunky dialogue and animation. I'm not asking to remove cutscenes from all games if the shoe fits, but game devs should explore the more unique ways this form of media can tell their stories. Cheers for the great podcast. Once again, Chester from Sheffield. Nice one, Chester. What do you reckon about this? Liam, what do you think about this?
No, I think there's a good point to that, because the one that comes to mind, well, do you remember in Last of Us when you're going through the sewers, and there's all that and like environmental storytelling going on. You can see like what the survivors have written on the walls. You can sort of like chart the downfall of this like colony that were living out in the sewer. You can't really well, I suppose you could do that in a film, but you'd have to have like a lot of lingering camera shots on like graffiti at that point. But it just like because exactly. But because it's a game, you can just sort of like just take your time, wander around, get through it all.
For me, it's a different, the thing with games is as soon as you give the person the control of the camera and what they're looking at and how much time they spend looking at it, then that opens loads of possibilities for doing that sort of stuff. It can be done badly. Like Horizon Zero Dawn, one of my favourite games of the year when that came out, if not my favourite game. No, is that the same year? Never mind. One of my favourite games of the year when it came out. But it had audio logs in there that were just tedious, like crap, or like they were good. I wanted to listen to it, but just the way they'd actually implemented it. So there was like, you would just walk into a room and there was like 20 audio logs in there. So they expect you to just stand in the room listening to 20 audio logs. And you couldn't multitask very well, so you couldn't easily listen to one and then go off and hunt some dinosaurs or whatever. You had to just like listen to it, and it was like the main focus of your attention, and it was just not. I don't know. They didn't implement it really well. So even the basic technical stuff of how it works is really important.
I really agree with Horizon Zero Dawn. I hated it, and not the game, but the audio log system. One thing I don't like that I see a lot is kind of like an audio log, but I don't know what it is with sci-fi games, mate. But they always have like this holograph system where it's like a blue wireframe ghost, and that's normally proximity based. So you have to just stand and watch something, and it's just. Fuck off. Because that's annoying, because it's not like you can put the controller down, you're still in the game. I think actually something we discussed like maybe a couple of years ago now was when we talk about Japan versus the West and stuff like that. I think there were some very good points made by both of you about how Western games are still very cinematic, whereas Japan see video games as their own art form, which is why you do see, like Chester was saying, like Notes on the Ground and all that. First thing that comes to mind, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, even Sekiro to an extent. How they tell stories is because they're using video game as its own medium a lot more than the West, which is that Call of Duty style thing. So just the only reason I'm regurgitating these points is because there might be people that haven't been following us for that while and wouldn't have been able to hear you guys making those points. But when you guys said that, I was like, it's such a no-brainer, and it makes you think, yeah, absolutely. I think when we were talking about Game of the Year as well, God of War, I think that's because the best things about God of War is what happens whilst the game's going on, whereas like Red Dead Redemption, that's lazy storytelling because it happens in a big cutscene or during a big bit of dialogue in a very long horse ride. So I love it when a game tells a story in a unique way, or when it implements it into gameplay features, which is why I'm always so torn about walking simulators. Like What Remains of Edith Finch is very much an audio log with a bit of walking underneath it, but then it is it because then you're controlling it and moving around. I think ultimately stories is what pulls everyone together, where it's whether it's like games or books or whatever. Or films, but I think that the way that it can be done, the way I've seen it be done, it's been so unique that I think, God, how much more different ways is there of telling a story? But I know that there's new ways out there. Even how Ape Out was using music recently is so original, so fresh. Like, I don't know, it's very exciting because cinema is always going to be that same thing. The story's told through you sitting and watching it. But what's so exciting about games is it's the only interactive medium, apart from interactive theatre if you're a Tory, but let's not go there.
But it's and even like audio logs and stuff is quite an on the nose way of doing it. It's good, it's very good, and then reading audio diaries and stuff, it definitely works. But then environmental storytelling is a thing that people forget about a lot, where the story is nothing that you read or nothing that you hear, but it's just like, well, it could be something that you hear, but it's like just incidental stuff. It could be like NPCs just like remarking about something, or it could be a lot of the time, like in Metro Exodus was a good recent example where even that was pretty on the nose, but like you would just so there's some exploration, post-apocalyptic landscape and stuff. You just go in there, You could just go into the building and do some looting and then leave, or you could look at what might have happened in that building, and there is definitely a story in there. There's definitely, there's like a couple of dead bodies, and the bodies are in certain positions, and there's context to the way that things have been destroyed, because like environmental artists, one person might have been given that building to decorate, and they've put a story in there for you, and you can like enjoy that if you want, or you just move on and just loot it and look at it as pure function. But that story's in there as well. I think like Red Dead Redemption that you mentioned there, Jake, I think that is like massively built on the thing that God of War did of just having continuous one camera shot sort of thing. In Red Dead Redemption, the transition between gameplay and cinematic, and it is really good, very well really good cinematography in the cinematics of this video game. You just stroll into that as a character. And the way that happens is like amazing. It's really, really good. And that's I'm not saying that everything else in the game is perfect, but that alone is like worthy of the game getting a lot of praise. So there's and these are all different ways of basically doing the same thing, just telling you a story and giving you some story to enjoy, just doing it in different ways, and then just having that variety in and of itself is like that is the benefit of it being games. But movies are still fucking amazing.
Agreed.
The council agrees. Move on. What do you want to talk about now? Do you want to talk about Assassin's Creed and I don't know, reverse review bombed, positive? Love bombed. That's why. Yeah. Assassin's Creed is getting bombed with love. So this is in the wake of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris sort of going up in flames, as I'm sure everyone knows by now. And then you probably already know as well that Assassin's Creed, because obviously Assassin's Creed Unity is set in Paris, and they had a massive, incredibly detailed scale model of Notre Dame. Unfortunately, they had changed and adapted the model for the game for obvious reasons, so they couldn't quite. They wouldn't necessarily need to use that as like 3D modeling for the rebuild or something. But what Ubisoft has said is that it's going to donate an awful lot of money, €500,000, towards the reconstruction efforts. As like a sign of solidarity or something, and just helping, showing goodwill and stuff towards this landmark that they have made a lot of money out of. And then to sort of give. In turn, to give Assassin's Creed Unity and Ubisoft a little high five, loads of gamers are positively review bombing. So there's been a spike in positive reviews for Assassin's Creed Unity. What do you think of this, guys?
What's the opposite of bomb?
What's the opposite of what? It's just like not bombing.
Yeah, tends to.
Is it an implosion? Because bombs explode.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of them bombs in Star Wars Battlefront that seems to like suck stuff in a little bit.
Oh, them ones, before they expel them out. Let me. Well, first of all, I'm just going to chuck this over the top. If you're an audio listener, and I know it's a bit of a meme at this point, but this isn't going to matter to you. But I'm just going to replace us with I don't know, just a window with the Steam reviews. And I'll just have a little scroll through. We'll have a little look while we're talking. I won't read them out. I'll just let you use your eyes. But just while the lads are all chatting away, we can have a look. But they gave the game away for free, right? That's one of the big reasons I think that people were happy.
Yeah.
Did it?
It was free on Uplay for a bit.
Have you guys played Unity, by the way? That's what I wanted to know, because I haven't, see.
No, I've not played this one.
You've not? Oh, I've finished it, and it was... they all sort of blurred into one at that point for me. And the one I didn't play was Syndicate, the one in London.
Oh, I did play that one. So yeah. With the twins, you play as the twins.
Yeah. So this one I did play, and it's it's pretty good. And Paris was really detailed, and I don't know. I think it's nice. I think it's just the game's had, loads of players have got it. There's been a giveaway, and there's two sort of positive things happened, and then it's been positively reviewed in reflection of that, which is good, because it always happens the other way. But I suppose it's just nice to see players going, this is cool, thanks.
Yeah, it's almost unheard of. Weirdly, it is weird because
it is. So unheard of that we're trying to establish what's the opposite of review bombing is.
Love bomb is going to get us terms of service, but
No, love bombing. Like, fly the flag for love bombing. I'm very proud of that phrase, and I want everyone watching and listening to use the phrase love bombing and spread it out into the world, and then people will know that it came from special moves. Spread the love bomb. Love bomb everyone. I want you boys love bombing everyone.
That's if you've got a WWE game, that's a perfect finishing move name.
Yeah, your guy looks like Tom Jones. He walks out to Tom Jones. He walks out to Sex Bomb.
I've got to say, I'm reading all these reviews. I found a guy who's just got the game for free. It says product received for free, and his review is just better than Anthem. Right, that's enough of going through the reviews now. I've ended it there. Yeah. But yeah, people are talking about the parkour system in it being good. I've seen in the reviews people saying it's got a really good parkour system, and that's what made it stand out. People are literally just talking about Notre Dame. So I haven't played it. I think I missed the opportunity to get it for free because I don't have Uplay installed on my computer. Not for a.
I'm not sure that you would enjoy it.
I'm pretty certain I wouldn't. Yeah, you're totally right. Because if I was going to play an Assassin's Creed, I'd go back and just finish Black Flag or something, or maybe finish Syndicate, which I started. I doubt I would have time to play it, and I've got lots of good stuff at the moment on my computer, so I can't be asked. But that was an example of something being love bombed, but a more traditional hate bomb. Mortal Kombat was sort of bombed into oblivion today and yesterday because of a lot of factors, but one that stood out to me was first of all, before we get onto that, I'll give you some more recent news. They've said that Mortal Kombat 11 is the best success any Mortal Kombat's ever had in franchise history since launch, right? And now looking into it, it's one of these. Like, first of all, I want to read this out to you, and then I want to ask your opinion. It's this: $6,400 to buy every skin in the game, or 3,000 hours playtime. Now, do you look at that and say that that's a bad thing, or do you think, well, it's the same with Apex Legends, right? Apex Legends was cost you probably about $6-7 to get all the skins, but is that the point of the game? And is it the same with Mortal Kombat? Like, is it the point of the game to unlock everything? And if it's not, then can you see why perhaps a lot of choices is a good thing? Because that's what I've got to say. Like, Apex Legends isn't a shit game because it would cost you $20 to buy all the cosmetics, because that's not how it works, is it? Right?
No. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's like, I think if you still play and enjoy the game, bottom line, and it's this concept of like having to get it, and I think the pure fact is like a great headline. It's going to take you 3,000 hours to get this. It's going to take you 10,000 hours to unlock Darth Vader. That one was bad because it's Darth Vader. But if it's just like if it's 10,000 hours to get everything, and it takes you 12 hours to get Darth Vader, 12's still a lot of time, but
it's not 3,000.
It's if there was like, but if there's loads, if it means like you're a compulsive like completionist, and you're like, well, I can't possibly finish the game unless I've unlocked everything. Well, guess what, mate? They're going to keep adding stuff. That's just the way games are. You're going to be on a fucking never-ending treadmill of unlockable stuff.
Like, if you said it would cost you on average £1.9 million to win the lottery, then everyone would say, well, yeah, but that's not what people are doing. It's because it's rare, right? It's the same with this. I guess you're getting to make things rare, you need to have a very slim chance you're going to get it. And for that case, when you factor in what logical and like financial things need to be obtained to get all of the rare stuff, you can see why the numbers bloated. But I don't know, like Liam, you've probably had your eyes on the grounds compared to me, I've been looking at all sorts of shit on the internet, basically looking at like the price, basically the price of every item, and I've been looking into time crystals, mate. Which is in Mortal Kombat. I've not been like trying to start a crystal collection like Hank from Breaking Bad or anything. I'm just and I think you'll find that they were minerals. But have you seen any reviews about the game?
Are you arguing with yourself?
I was getting in there. I was correcting it because I was very conscious that this will go out to people that might correct me. So, but yeah, do you think that from what you've seen, the game looks to be all right? Like,
I think like I quite like a good fighting game. I'm not like massive into them like some people. Mortal Kombat has never really been my preferred type of fighting game, but it's like from all the reviews I've read, they say it's one of like gameplay wise, it's one of the best Mortal Kombats there's ever been. But every single review I've seen, they all mention like this progression system and how it's like really unbalanced. But they don't. But all the scores are still like 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's like a footnote at the end of the review almost.
Yeah. I saw that. I don't know if you're aware of that, Mike, that all these reviews have been really positive and they've not factored that in, and that's surely going to cause that divide of journalists and the gamers, I guess.
Well, has it been established that they had access to all that stuff and they knew about it? Because it has happened in the past, hasn't it, where they knew that there was going to be microtransactions and they were going to look a certain way, but they didn't quite get the full like breadth of what exactly is going to be in there. That does happen, right? I'm sure that
was it NFL or something like that, where like the
NBA. I think it was it might have been,
or it was that wrestling game
I don't know.
that came out at the same time. But it was, and there was another car game, and it Need for Speed. It was one of them, wasn't it? And the press got a version with no microtransactions, and then it got made live afterwards. So, like their review couldn't factor it in, and then it makes them seem not dishonest, but like they've clearly admitted it, because how could
they do it with the Call of Duty games as well, where the first like month the game's out, they don't have any microtransactions in, and then like a few months later, then they patch the store in, like after all the reviews have come out and people have bought it and stuff like that.
It's really silly. I just thought it was worth having a look at. That seems to be the thing. It's going to take you $6,000 to get everything, but is that the point of playing Mortal Kombat? Mortal Kombat seems like the game that you'd not grind on. Like out of every game, it's like the Mario Party of the PS4. Not as family friendly.
It is. It is the way I play it. Like I don't think I've ever played through to the end of a Mortal Kombat game, and yet I've owned almost all of them. And I've just, although the story is pretty funny for like an hour, watching like fucking Johnny Cage being a dickhead and uppercutting people in the balls and stuff. But then it's like, believe it or not, that does get tiresome after a little while. And I'll just dip into it just to batter the fuck out of someone in an incredibly violent fashion sometimes when I feel like doing that. I just don't understand. But then, that's not for me to say that. There are people, of course, who like love the game and they love the thing and they want to play and unlock everything and see everything that they've got to offer. But they, now it seems like it's going to take like a really long time to do that. I don't know. It's I can sympathise, but
I can't remember what the fucking. Who was it that was like DLC, and I was surprised. Was it Shang Tsung?
It was one of the big lads.
It was Shao Kahn, It was a pre-order to get Shao Kahn, who's like the Mortal Kombat staple.
Shang Tsung is DLC, and Shao Kahn is pre-order bonus. So between the two of them, that's two big bad guys. I think Goro is in the main game, but like for the Mortal Kombat fans of old, I guess. For the people that can remember like when the film was coming out, then that's a big deal. Like the only Mortal Kombat I've played this gen is at Mike's house while Mike's been making a hot drink. I've played about 4 games of Mortal Kombat X or 10, whatever, and that's it. So I played, and that's the thing. I can't imagine sitting there and grinding. I can't, but it is what it is. So that's all I had done on Mortal Kombat. It really isn't that big.
I mean, the one thing I do want to say on the topic is that I'm really, really bored of opening loot boxes in every single game, because it, like, I jumped into Star Wars Battlefront after having, I played it at launch, haven't played it since, and then I've played it this week, and I had 34 loot boxes. It takes you about 5 hours to open one, so I'm not. I'm just going to permanently have this number at the bottom left of my screen. 34 loot boxes that I've got to open, and I'm never going to open them because it takes too fucking long. Why didn't you just give me all of them? Just give me everything. Just like shake it dry. Like I don't want to do that. And Apex Legends is the same. Like I've got about 10 or something on there, because again it takes half an hour to open one, and I can't be asked. I don't want to watch the box like popping open and then things spinning round and like, you've got this and that, which is nothing really.
Like I said to you before, I think the best thing that could ever happen to me on Apex is like the second ever loot box I opened, I got the rarest skin for the character that I play. So it's like I've peaked so early, like everything else is shit compared to that. But when I told you that me and Kale were in that competition, playing Apex Legends, so as you know, it's teams of 3. So we were sat with this random guy, and because people were just in and out playing it all day on these accounts that were made by Game, the UK company. So the accounts were called like Game 59 or whatever, Game 52, whatever. The guy next to us was like buzzing because when we sat down there was 17 unopened Apex packs, so when we were waiting for the games to start and stuff, he was just clicking through them, and he had like 17. He must have been going through some major withdrawal. He was like buzzing the fact that no one had done it. Like he was thinking, what, can we open these? Like, fucking hell, mate.
But it's like if you opened a present, if you imagine Christmas morning, right? You got 17 presents, except all of the presents have been wrapped up like a game of fucking pass the parcel, and there's like 19 layers of wrapping paper to get through before you can actually see what's in there. And because it's pass the parcel, there's nothing good in there.
Yeah,
it's like that's what it's like opening a loot box.
As a kid, it might be exciting.
So let's before we finish it off, then let's have a look at the new games coming out this week. And because we're recording late, there are a couple of games that are out already. As we've just discussed, Mortal Kombat 11 is out on PC, Switch, would you believe, PS4 and Xbox One. It came out on Tuesday. I didn't even realise it was coming to Switch until I saw it on the eShop yesterday.
£70
a lot of money,
pounds.
Really expensive.
£70
for the ultimate one.
I don't know, because someone I follow. Oh, is it? Because someone I follow on Twitter has been making a massive deal about it being £70, and you're telling me that they've bought the expensive one.
Well, there is at least a 55.
Oh, okay. Hey. Funnily enough, this was in the news. It dropped $10 today. It's been out for a day.
Yeah.
So by the time you're listening to this podcast, it'll be $14.99.
Yeah.
What else have we got?
What a deal. That's out. Dragon's Dogma is out on the Switch. That was out the same day, April the 23rd on Tuesday. I do fancy this, It's so cheap.
Definitely.
It's good. It's a good game.
And it's a classic that I haven't played. Well, it's sort of a cult classic, I guess. But I just remember at the time, loads of like YouTubers were like saying, just doing big videos on it and talking about all the different interesting stuff that it does, and I've never played it. So and seeing as it's on the Switch, possibly, and then a few upcoming ones. Then, we've got, where are we? We've got Imperator Rome, which is coming out to PC on April the 25th. This is a big grand strategy type deal. Like Crusader Kings type of thing.
Right, sounds like a Paradox game.
Yeah. It very much does sound like a Paradox game, and it is indeed a Paradox game. So that's that. There's also SteamWorld Quest: Hand of Gilgamesh, which is a fucking great name, and that's coming to Nintendo Switch first. So it is coming to other platforms, but it's coming to the Switch first. And I really like the SteamWorld games. I like SteamWorld Heist especially an awful lot. And this looks really cool. It's just like an RPG card battling thing, which is, it takes the SteamWorld, it started off with SteamWorld Dig, and it was all like Old West sort of themed. And then SteamWorld Heist kept that going, but with loads of sci-fi and stuff in there. And they were like space truckers. And then this is more like high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons type vibe.
Cards, right? I don't think the games haven't had cards in. Is that right?
No, yeah. That's what I said. Yeah, this is totally new. This is like that's what SteamWorld Heist was nothing like SteamWorld Dig either. So they are doing cool stuff with the universe. They're creating completely new gameplay loops with the new games, which is absolutely like really good. And then we got Days Gone.
I played it
which
already.
Is out on PS4 on April 26th. Are you under an embargo? Or?
No, I can tell you what I think of
it.
It wasn't. All right, so and everyone else who I had spoken to that's played it said the same thing. The shooting is really off. There's no like power or welly like when you shoot a shotgun. Not even like there's no recoil. The crosshair doesn't even move, and it just goes. It's like there's nothing to it. So I played 2 missions. Like one mission that I played, I don't think the game is in missions. I think it's one linear story. Was the one that I think was shown off maybe Paris Games Week or something like that. So it was there was like a mission where you had to sneak in and find an engine for a motorbike, and there was these kids, like these dead kids that crawled around. And it's the only game I've seen where it's bold enough to put like you're shooting kids in the face. You don't shoot kids in the face in other games, but because they're zombies.
Well, we've got to give it credit for that.
Well, it's very, very brave. I don't know how they get away with it, to be honest. But apart from I guess they're zombies, so they're putting them out of misery. So you shoot them. There's no power to it at all. Like it just seems very weak. It feels like a Last of Us ripoff. It really does. Like the way that you're like. I've got this very strong image in my head of The Last of Us where it's Joel crouched on the floor at a reception desk picking up bandages by holding square, and he's just looting like shrapnel. It's got a lot of that, like hold X to get all the shrapnel kind of thing. And then I did a mission with the horde mechanic where the whole mission is destroy every single zombie in a horde of 300 zombies, but they chase you and it's like water following you. It's like that boulder in Crash Bandicoot, mate. It's just relentless, and it was really difficult. I died like 3 times on it. You have to set up traps in advance, like proximity mines and stuff. That was really quite cool. I've never seen that many enemies work that way before, and I thought surely there can't be like 300 I've got to kill. It was very cool. I had like a Dead Rising feel to it, but I will say that I wasn't very happy with what I played, to be honest. So
that's basically no surprise for me at all. I was sort of that's what I was expecting you to say, and just because I feel like that's probably how I would feel. It didn't. I would give it a go, I reckon, but certainly not at release.
Yeah, I'm gonna play
it'll be
game, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get just because it's purely like the only like big new release we've got for seems like ages until like
Rage 2.
I don't know when. I don't know what's out after.
But that's a good
Rage
couple of
2
weeks
probably,
afterwards, isn't it?
But I think it is. I just feel like I don't know. It's a big Sony exclusive. I feel like I should give it a shot at least.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. I think it's going to review okay. I think it's going to be 80s. But it's just cup of tea wise. It's not for me. I don't think. We were also supposed to be getting Super Meat Boy Forever this week, I think. But
what
it's
is
been
that?
delayed.
Is that another definitive edition?
I don't think that's
pretty
happening.
sure I've been playing Super Meat Boy for about 11 years now. Different versions of it here.
Oh, it's I think
it's new.
It was an Infinite Runner, I think.
Oh right,
but with
so
Super Meat Boy,
a new game, not like
but
so he keeps moving forwards without input.
forever.
Yeah,
but that's
like the Bit Trip games. If you ever played them, well, the Runner ones anyway.
Okay, fair enough. Because I thought it was like Binding of Isaac. How there's about 17 different versions of Binding of Isaac now. All right, okay, good. That's quite good. Because what's his name? Edmund McMullen or something. Who's responsible for those games?
Yeah,
I like what he does often. Like I do enjoy it, and like I'm saying, Binding of Isaac's one of my favourites ever, and so I think I should support it. But if there's no word on when it's actually coming out, fair enough, I guess.
Nah, it's a when
Another
it's
quiet
done
week,
sort of
I've
job.
got to say, I think that.
Well, no, that's pretty busy.
Well, no, like you were saying earlier, cup of tea wise, like, for me, there's not that. I mean, I'll have a
certainly.
look. Basically, based on what you say, that SteamWorld game I'll check out. Dragon's Dogma I will, but that doesn't really count, to be honest, because it's old.
Came out in 2012 originally, I think.
Mortal Kombat and Days Gone are two pretty big.
Sorry, I already forgot Mortal Kombat. I already forgot. Well, yeah, and then I think everything's quieting down because everyone's getting ready for E3, right? So we got to try and figure out if we can get this. If we can get you to stop growing and shrinking manically, which we will do, we could definitely do something E3. I reckon if there's nothing stupid o'clock.
Yeah.
So hopefully it goes well. We're doing all right, aren't we? I think for the stream.
Yeah.
I think so. So that was the episode 34 of the Special Moves podcast. Now, I think it would be good if you have listened to this, if you download it on Spotify or whatever, or if you're watching back on YouTube or you listen to it through YouTube, just let us know what it was like listening to it and stuff, and give us some sort of feedback. Email us if you want at dearspecialmoves@gmail.com. In fact, no, definitely do that. Email us at dearspecialmoves@gmail.com if you're listening to it, and if you want to say, if you thought it was fine, if you thought it was good, or if you think it was an absolute dive fucking, whatever, you didn't like it. Just let us know so we know, because, that's the only way we'll know.
We recorded this out of necessity this week because I was away in Birmingham at this event I was on about earlier. Mike was away in a different country, so, and because of my job, I'm going to be travelling a lot now, and now with Mike's job, we found out he's going to be doing a lot of travelling as well, international travel. It looks like this might be a necessary evil more than once. Yeah.
Sometimes.
So whatever we can do to tune it up for next time would be cool. And like Mike was saying about emailing, specifically if you do know how to fix this issue here with the NDI codec, in Skype, that would be fucking great. Troubleshoot my problems for me, yeah?
Yeah.
But and hopefully we'll get this looking a little bit better as well, not just something I did on my lunch. But yeah, hey, thank you so much. We've got another Patreon podcast, I think, coming out soon. We need to record one, I think, this week. So if you're,
there'll be another
Patreon,
bonus.
You don't know, we got some podcasts just for you guys. And if you're not a Patreon, just for as little as $1 a month, you can check out now 3 podcasts off topic. We very much talk about video games still, but also movies, and let's be honest, just been Game of Thrones and telly and that.
It's just exactly. It's just a nice bit of bonus material for just to say thank you to everyone who supports us on Patreon. Remember to email us dearspecialmoves@gmail.com with anything you want us to talk about, any talking points. We do like it. I think we do spend some time on these emails, don't we? Do like to have a nice chat about the topics that you guys want.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, exactly. So send them in. And if you're not watching on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe, because please God, we need it. We'll see you again very soon, possibly with another live podcast or whatever. See how it goes, innit? See you later.